Sometimes I wonder people who name these are just like people who sit at their desk and are like just like FG just super tired after a long day of work and just go, this would be funny, and just decide to name it that one day.
I mean, most of those birds were named like hundreds of years ago too.
This is true.
Yeah.
Or someone just mistakenly said it and like that's what that's called. Like those kinds of jokes, like the pull my finger, they didn't come from young people.
All right. So, anyways, this is episode 57 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. I'm blind and I needed to start it eventually. I'm hosting this episode, and I'm joined by FG Squared.
Hello.
How are you? Once again. And today we have a guest who is Allie, not Allie. Hi. How are you?
Hello. Doing good.
Doing good?
Scared but excited to be here.
It's the Canadian Takeover.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we've won finally. We've had like Australian episodes where like the Aussies get to talk about spiders, and now we've got a Canadian episode where we can talk about how it rains a lot.
Well, talk about how it rains, and then maple syrup and mousses or mises, whatever they're called.
Yes, and then you have to apologize at the end for taking over.
No, but it can't be like a full like sorry. It has to be like the Canadian version. So, oh, sorry. Sorry about that,
bud.
Oh, sorry about that, bud.
And then we can talk about how, like, you know, beavers chewed through the power lines for small towns.
Oh, God.
And cut off the internet for, like, a week on end during the pandemic, because that actually happened. Mm-hmm.
That actually did happen, yeah.
Or the guy that was blowing up the beaver dam with dynamite to make his property bigger so he could land an ultralight plane in his backyard. Which is super illegal.
Hashtag Canadian problems.
I was just gonna say, I was like, there's jokes about like, you know, Americans with guns, but then there's Canadians with dynamite. Like,
Dynamite.
Yeah, how'd you get that?
We don't talk about it.
You go to the hardware store and you buy it.
Yeah, it's
kind
definitely.
of wish I was joking.
Yeah.
Wait, you can buy dynamite at the hardware store?
I think you need like a license for it still, but yes.
You need a permit, but yeah, you can just go buy dynamite.
Okay. Okay. I guess Canada is moving further down on the need to visit again list.
It's fine as long as you don't go anywhere in the middle of nowhere. I mean, for whatever. I'm wondering if I should like specifically name like Twitch chat user. But do you know who Halfdanskin is?
Yes.
Like one of Belliner's regulars. Like his neighbor owns howitzer, and just fires it off randomly for no reason. So I don't know. I think Sweden would be like higher up there on that list.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always been like, it's like those things that they use at wineries to scare off the birds. I genuinely thought when I was younger that people were just setting off dynamite in the wineries, and I was like, why are they blowing up the berries? Like they need those.
I used to go blueberry picking all the time when I was younger, and this was like a friend of the family who just had like a blueberry farm locally, and this was like before they had the automated like pop cannons to like scare birds away. So they would literally like pay one of the kids from the church that we went to at the time to just like sit at the back of the field with a shotgun and with blanks and then just fire it off every so often.
That is not where I thought that was going. I thought you were going to say like run through the field screaming, not give a child a gun.
Well, okay, not a child, but like a teenage, like someone like 15, 16 or something. It was just like, pay them $10 an hour to just sit at the back of the field in the sun with a little umbrella with a air rifle and just fire it off whenever birds started landing.
Welcome to Canada.
Sounds like a chill job. I mean, you know.
For a summer gig, you could do worse.
Yeah,
that's
definitely
true.
Beats like working like a conveyor belt in a factory.
Or like a convenience store.
Yeah.
Or any kind of food service for that matter.
Yeah. Or working an old record store during Christmas time, because that's not fun.
To say that's oddly specific.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about it?
It's a little bit of trauma I have, you know, it's no big deal. No, oh gosh, it was just one of those things where it was like, I worked in a music store, now we're ADDing, here we go. I worked in a music store when I was a teenager, and it's like during Christmas time, you'd always have the people that, you know, just came in specifically to complain about something during the holiday season because they could. Well, I had one lady come in and complain that we were not playing Hanukkah music during Christmas time, and like she threw a fit, like an absolute fit. And then not even a week later, we had somebody get stabbed. So like, it's a great time in a music store during the holiday season.
Merry Christmas, I guess.
Yeah.
I once had somebody complain that we weren't playing any music around Christmas when I worked in fast food. And my response to him was, if you want music, buy headphones.
Very logical response.
He looked at me like I was a crazy person, and he's just like, but you're supposed to be playing holiday music. And I'm like, I've been listening to that for the last 6 hours, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I would rather die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's self-torture at that point.
Turning it off.
I swear most people at that point are just sick of it anyways. Like I would be like, can you, oh God, just hearing the same, because it's not even just like a big selection, right? It's not like hundreds of songs. It's like
8 songs.
Yeah, you can listen to this Christmas CD over and over and over again.
Yep.
I'm the horrible person where like, yeah, I had to work in a music store, and like I've worked in service industry for majority of my life. So around Christmas time, that music always plays, and it starts in like November. But I'm also the person that starts listening to Christmas music, and like as soon as Halloween's over, I play Mariah Carey and piss everyone off just because I like it. Like I like Christmas music. I'm a holiday person, so like.
Damn it, we should have brought Kiri on.
Yeah, I
this
was gonna
episode.
say, where's Kiri? Come on, like Christmas takeover.
Let's do it. Just wait for the next Christmas when it comes close to it, and then I'll pop on the podcast again just to bug you guys.
No, but like you don't understand. With Kiri, Christmas is always coming. It's almost always here. Like her entire channel is like snow.
I need
year-round.
to hang out with Kiri then.
Yeah, I'm that, but with Halloween. It's always almost Halloween. Halloween's coming back.
That's true.
Halloween at least is fun. You know, like it's a fun holiday because you get to dress up and there's candy and
Kiri.
And then
scary
stab a few
people.
pumpkins.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
I just like to say that, like, you know, because people for Christmas like reserve the right to start decorating for Christmas in the middle of October, I reserve the right to start decorating for Halloween like end of August.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'm
But
the same
people
way.
think I'm crazy.
No, I literally like last year I started figuring out how to put up a little skeleton like paper folding dude hanging on my closet, and I put it up literally mid-August, and people were just like, Allie, you should not have that in your stream background. I was like, I don't care. I want it there. Thank you very much. We ended up getting, I have like a skull that has glowing eyes, and I set up both of them, and we ended up naming them Belmont and Alucard, just because we could.
Yeah, no, when it comes to just setting up for holidays early, it's like I generally skip Christmas almost entirely, like personally. Like I go to family things when Christmas stuff happens, but like for me, the holiday that matters is Thanksgiving, because it's just like, hey, it's Christmas sans consumerism, which is like Christmas but 100 times more tolerable. So I prefer Thanksgiving if I'm forced to like pick a holiday that I like. But then I skip straight to New Year's.
do I have to pick one?
Does September count as a holiday?
Oh my god.
Don't remind me. We were talking about that sort of stuff again today, and then I just was faced again with the reality that I will not be streaming for most of September this year.
This is true, yeah. You will be taking a lot of time off in September this year.
Yeah. Which basically is my reason why, partly at least, why I'm not going to TwitchCon America this year, because I already am taking...
Do we want to do that bit now, since it just came up?
Yeah.
Can move that up.
Yep.
So TwitchCon got dates announced for, well, I don't need to move it in the doc, it's fine. TwitchCon got its dates announced for Paris and TwitchCon NA. So FG, you're going to Paris, and I just bought tickets to Vegas. So what are you doing in Paris?
I'm just there for the con. Like I've been to Paris. I've seen some bits of Paris, so I don't need to like re-see things. So I'm literally dropping in on the Friday, partner party on the Friday, 2 days of con, and then I'm leaving again on Monday. And it's luckily the flights are like super cheap, but the hotel it's bonkers because it's the middle of July in Paris, which is like holiday hay season. It's insane. I wish they would go back to April for TwitchCon EU because it's just horrible. It's just terrible timing.
I was heavily considering it, and then I looked up the average number of buildings in Paris that have air conditioning and the average temperature in July in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
and was like, yeah, you're not going to get a hotel with air conditioning, basically, unless, like, you are a millionaire. And also, it's not cold. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if that's worth 24 hours worth of flying.
Yeah, mine does have air conditioning. It's probably going to be like European, so it's not going to like air conditioning, so it's not going to make it like really nice cool in the room.
Yeah.
But it hopefully is sufficient if it decides to be really, 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 really hot. And if it
But also,
decides to
when I
be like a
travel-
40 plus degree weekend, and I mean, you'll know that beforehand, and then I might, like, if something like that actually were to happen, I would probably just skip and not go, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are temperatures where I just do not want to be moving.
Yeah,
And
the last thing I want to
traveling.
do is get hospitalized internationally because I got heat stroke.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That just sounds like torture.
That happened to be at Disneyland once, and it wasn't even that hot.
Yeah. I mean, heat stroke's really not even heat stroke, it's just sunstroke. So wear a hat if you're outside for long periods of time.
Or
Lots of
solution.
sunscreen.
That
Don't
too,
go
yeah.
outside.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah,
Just
wear a
stay
hat
inside.
if you're outside for a very long time in the sun. Like if
Lots of water too.
yeah.
So who else from the team is going to Paris? Because I'll be honest, I haven't scrolled up the conventions chat room
Kiri,
that we have quietly. Is it just you and Kiri? Because I know Bell's skipping.
Bell skipping. Sui's not going. You're not going. Jess isn't going. Drongo isn't going. Arch isn't going. So it's just me and Kiri.
All right. Well, I mean, there will be some people for people to hang out with, for people who go to Paris or people who live in Paris.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The other place that TwitchCon got announced for in 20th to 22nd of October is Las Vegas, which after about 20 seconds after that got announced, I was like looking at flights and going, you know what? Fuck it. Okay, it's cheap enough. So I'm going to Las Vegas. And my personal opinion is if the convention sucks, I'm just going to leave and go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Because after like a little bit of coordination, it's like, yep, one of my mods can go. And he was just like, hold on, let me ask my bosses, which is his parents. And he's like, yep, nope, can do that. He might even go to the When We Were Young festival out there, although he's going to be buying resale tickets. So it's like $350 to get onto the waiting list. And I think I think Sui got an Airbnb. So
Yep.
like,
Yep, she did.
we'll figure something out. Should be a fun little weekend.
Nice.
Which is actually like, it's going to be the same number of days as the last time I went down, which means if I schedule it correctly, I barely will even miss a stream.
That's good, yeah. Yeah, for
is pretty
me, going to TwitchCon, like Las Vegas, would be... I would have to fly out on the Wednesday, because I wouldn't be able to make it in time on Thursday for the partner party, like, at all. And then I would leave Monday, which, because how travel magic works, would mean I arrive back home on Tuesday, and that's an entire week of no streaming and nothing. And I'll be gone the month prior for like 3+ weeks. And I might do Gamescom, which is also another week-ish, because I would probably go see family if I'm in Germany. I can't do that 3 months in a row.
Yeah, I mean, conventions wise, it's like I'm going to be doing PAX West. I'm going to be doing TwitchCon. And somewhere in the middle there, I might be flying to Japan. I don't know. I still haven't decided that yet.
Yeah.
So that's going to be what, like 3 pretty major flights in a week? Or in like a month and a bit?
Yeah.
Pretty
That's
much.
a lot. Yeah.
Although, actually, Seattle probably won't be a flight. That's just get on a train.
True. But it's major
Still traveling,
travel, right? It's major travel.
But since we've been talking about TwitchCon, I think I need to preface this for anybody who is either A, never been before, or isn't going. TwitchCon, in my experience, is for a lot of people a massive goddamn waste of time. TwitchCon is one of the weirdest conventions I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot of conventions. It's weird in that it's no longer really like the first few years that I went, it was a community meetup where everybody had community badges because there was no affiliates. It was just partners and then everybody else. And everybody else, there was a lot of people who streamed, but most people didn't. And it was very much just like, here's a big old party. Let's just talk with everybody, meet Twitch staff, regardless of if you're partnered or not. And it was a very interesting convention full of opportunities, but it's ballooned to like 15 times the size since then. And now it's just everybody's there because they're treating it like a work convention. And unless you either A, already have a lot of connections, or B, know a lot of people that are going to be there already, it's really difficult to make it into a productive event, I guess. I feel like I'm really kind of curious to see how this year goes, especially in Vegas, because this is going to be kind of my make or break year, maybe, as to whether or not I ever want to go to one of these again.
I'm mostly just going just to see people again that I haven't seen in 4 years, because I didn't go last year, and the year before, obviously.
Yeah, the last time I've been to a TwitchCon, I think, was like 2018. So it's like, I haven't even gone to those in so long. And part of me feels like I should, just for the connection reasons of it all. But, because you do meet people and make connections, but it's also, you can just do that outside of it. You don't need to pay the tickets for it, so.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that and TwitchCon is a very easy. Like, PAX, not so much. PAX, it's like, if you go to PAX, you have to buy the tickets and, like, go into the convention, because there's actually stuff to do. Especially PAX West and PAX East. But, like, because I can't speak for PAX Australia, but when you go to TwitchCon, I think it was TwitchCon San Diego last year. They were like, yeah, we sold, it was like 120,000 tickets or something, and then there was like also another 100,000 people in the city apparently.
Wow, crazy.
That were just there, which is kind of crazy. Which also explains why the hotel prices were so high.
Yeah, true.
Actually, though.
But it's not so bad if you're willing to walk a bit and get a Airbnb and just snooze, but yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it's better organized than previous events. But considering the fact that they're hiring people right now to run the thing, I'm not so hopeful.
I mean, for Vegas, that's still somewhat okay. But the fact that they're hiring people for Paris is spoopy, because that's like less than half a year. And I don't know how much of like convention they have now. Like, how much is already done? Is this just for extra bids? Is this just to avoid, somebody breaking their back again? Or like,
yeah, it's like bullet point at the top, no foam pit.
Yeah.
So
it's a little delayed, but
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't actually Twitch, right? Like, it wasn't Twitch that ran that booth.
Lenovo Intel.
Yeah. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely it's gonna be interesting. I don't feel, because I didn't go, obviously I didn't go in 2020 or 2021 because nothing happened. I didn't go in 2022 because I was like, COVID is still spoopy and I don't want to have it. And I am sad that I didn't get to see the people, but I feel like actually, like, professionally, I didn't actually miss anything.
Yeah, same. Like, the reason I'm starting to go to conventions again is because I can afford it. Not because I feel like I need to go to conventions.
Yeah, also to see people that I haven't seen. Like, because there's people going to be at the convention that I haven't seen face to face.
I want to go shake hands with all those PR people that gave me keys over the years again.
Yeah, and say hello to
I'm going to go see if I can track down Bo from Gorilla and just be like, hey!
Yeah.
Thanks for the Planet Coaster water bottle back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things like that. Exactly. Maybe actually meet, like, I don't even know. I need to talk to them. I don't even know if they will be there, but like, meet my agent, right, and that sort of stuff. Like,
it's like wave at people that through Twitter that you never get to actually speak to, and just be like, I'm real.
Yeah,
I swear I exist.
I have a face.
Have a patch.
I'm not 3 otters in a trench coat, so yeah.
It's unconfirmed. Allegedly. We've been recording for almost 30 minutes. I think it's time for us to go to a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing recently-ish. And we're back with episode 57 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast, and we're going to be talking about the games that we've been playing this week. FG, you've played a new era of Pharaoh.
I have, yeah. So, Pharaoh New Era came out on Wednesday of this week, and it is sort of a remake / master / recompile of the old Pharaoh plus the expansion, the Cleopatra expansion. So there is quite a lot of content in the game. There's like 57 missions to do in the game. So yeah, I've been playing that a lot, actually. I've did it on Thursday. I played a little bit on Wednesday, then on Thursday, and today. So I've played quite a bit. I guess I have to say I did get sponsored to play it over on Steam, so I'll mention that here as well. Wasn't a Twitch stream sponsorship, but I did get sponsored to play it on the Steam store page. So just for full disclosure, that I did get some money for playing this game. But I played more of it after. I enjoy it. It's fun. It is in certain ways much better than the old version. It is in certain ways not better than the old version. It is still fun though. And it is also still a bit dated. So if you don't know what Pharaoh is originally a game from 1999. It's one of those so-called impression city builders, which is a kind of style of city builder that has fallen a lot out of favor.
A lot out of fashion. There's
out of
one or
fashion.
two that have come out in the past decade or so that are new.
Yeah, there's some indie people that are taking up the mantle of impression style city builder. If you don't know what that means, they're called impression style because they were made by the company called Impression Games or Impressions Games. So that's why they're called like that, because they have the specific mechanic of the service buildings sending out workers along a path and supplying the buildings along the path with resources, and then returning back to the origin, packing new resources up again and going again. So there is some pathing shenanigans that you have to manage to optimally run your city. So it's a very peculiar style of a city builder. And Pharaoh is not the first, not the last that was made. It's kind of smack dab in the middle in a way, and much beloved by a lot of people. And they made this remaster, and I like the graphics. Some people say they're too cartoony from them. I like it.
They look beautiful. The game looks like a screenshot in motion.
Yeah, I like it. It's widescreen. It has widescreen support. It has like Ultra HD support, like 1440p, 4K, blah blah blah, and all of that sort of stuff. Because they redid all the textures. They used the old voice lines, so there's new music. So there's that. They redid the UI. In certain bits it's a lot better. In other bits it's not. It's worse. There's no mini map. You can't rotate the screen, which is really sucks for building near like the edge of the map. So that's really odd. Certain things they explain really, really well. Certain things they don't explain at all. It's like they forgot to explain it. or maybe they assume that people know how to do it. It's a bit odd. Like if you've played before, it feels like it kind of assumes that you've played this before a bit. But it is manageable to wrangle your way through. Certain things you kind of have to Google maybe a little bit to like get to your solution a little bit faster. But generally speaking, I'm actually enjoying it. It runs well. It runs really, really well. To be fair, if it didn't run well on my machine, there would be something severely wrong. But like, I haven't heard anybody complain about like frame rate or anything like that. There are some bugs. It's not perfect. There are definitely some bugs. Really wish we had the mini map. And the biggest, like the thing that's the most divisive is the new combat system that they put in, which is basically just an auto resolve, which people either love or hate. Like there's no in between. And the reason as to why they put in a new combat system is because the old combat system, which was an RTS style combat system, was really buggy, and your attacking units would get stuck on your map, which would kill your import and export, which would basically kill your city. So essentially it would just soft lock your entire progress, and you'd have to start the map over because just of buggy pathfinding, and that obviously really sucks. And they wanted to do something about that. Makes sense, right? So basically, now you just make units. They attack with units, but it's just an auto resolve, which feels a little bit unsatisfying. But
now, is this auto resolve, or is this like Total War auto resolve, where it's like, oh, 80% chance to win, sweet, loss? What?
No, it's auto resolve. Like if you have it's pretty clear that you'll win, basically. Like, yeah, none of the the battles that I've lost, I went like, whoa, why the heck did I lose this? I had so many units, blah 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 blah. So, like it's
Okay, well that's good.
it's serviceable. It's not great, but it's serviceable, and it's better than losing progress because you got soft lock like 10 hours into a map. Because some of the harder maps later on take a long time, of course, to play through. So I enjoy it, and it's also not like expensive. Like it's currently 15% off for launch, right? So this is the
It's
15.
$30 CAD.
Yeah, it's 17. Yeah, it's £16.99. So 17 pounds.
$25.41 in Canadian dollars.
Yeah, which I think that's a decent price. It is a remaster. There is new stuff in it. It's got the content from Pharaoh and Cleopatra, right?
What was it? The last episode that you and me were on, and we were looking at the remasters of the
Etrian Odyssey.
The Etrian Odyssey games.
Yeah, oof.
Or it's just like, yo, those are $50. That's a 3DS game.
Yeah, and this is
It's fair.
I think that's totally appropriate price, because you can easily, even if you go by Canadian price, if you just play it through the campaign has 57 maps, right? That's a lot. That'll last you. And there's sandbox mode, and there will be like custom scenarios and custom map support and that sort of stuff. It's not in yet because it's not perfect yet.
I mean, if you want to talk about the amount of content in these games, FG, you know Gamer Zach, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's streamed nothing but Impression City Builders for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And didn't finish them all.
Exactly. Like there's so much.
There's a lot to do with these games.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot, like the campaigns take forever. Like if you do the map, like it takes a while. So like you get your money's worth if you like these types of city builders. Yeah.
I was very like reserved about this remake, not because like I always thought it looked pretty from like the previous stuff that they put up, but the thing that made me worried is the people who are making it, not the publisher, which is .emu, which has a really good track record, but the people that made this game is Triskill or Triskill, or how
yeah, I have no
it.
idea how to pronounce it. Yeah.
But they made Lethis Path of Progress, which was not good, which is also an impression style city builder. It's like a steampunk city builder.
Yeah.
And it's like they made that, and then they made like this weird RPG thing in that world, and they're like, we're making an MMO in this universe. And everyone's like, what? And then, like, I don't know, 3 years later, they're like, actually, we're not making an MMO in this universe. So I wonder how that went.
But I guess I assume they just learned. They learned more stuff from making their own, and like they got to. I mean, I guess this is probably actually great for them because they were like, oh, we made one of these, and now we get to dig into the code of the OG one and check it out.
Yeah,
and
totally.
So maybe we'll just get a second
Lethis 2.
Yeah, something like that. We'll see.
Or maybe they'll make them go make Poseidon or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Or we could get Caesar or one of the other ones.
Yeah, or Zeus or whatever, or Emperor. Like, so many people are like, oh, I wish they would do, X, Y, Z of these and that sort of stuff.
Oh, gosh, yeah. So I just had to like add on the end of that and listen to you guys talk about those kinds of games. I don't really play them that often, but you're making me want to jump into them. But I'm also like a hyperfixation type person, so like I feel like I'm never gonna escape if I enter into that world.
Do it.
There is a limited number of missions, to be fair.
Yes, and
I'm so tempted.
The Pharaoh is like one of those games. You're not gonna become like a Twitch superstar with it, but there is definitely an audience for these games.
Yep, they will tune in and they will be like, can we backseat, can we backseat, can we backseat,
Yeah.
can we backseat,
Yeah.
can we
Can we-
backseat, can we backseat?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
At that point, I'd be like, yes, please, 'cause I have no idea what I'm doing.
And then they'll be like, okay, this goes here, and then you need to build this exact pattern. Okay, and then this needs to go right next to this building. Do not make that more than one tile away from this building, or that won't work. And then this needs to hook up to this, and then put that road right there. Perfect.
See, this is why, like, with this kind of stuff, I go, like, completely silent, and I feel a bit bad, because I'm like, I'm not talking much, but also because I'm just very focused on what you're saying and being like, is this a game that I could get into? Is this something? Because the closest thing that I ever got to that was, like, Roller Coaster Tycoon. And that's, like...
3,000 hours on that game.
Yeah, that's as far as I got to that, even close to that kind of game. So I'm like, I could.
Oh,
but
Roller Coaster Tycoon has multiplayer.
Does it?
Yeah.
I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's had multiplayer since, like, 2014.
I'm very slow on that stuff. It's fine. But yeah, no, Oxenfree to a total different genre of games.
That happens.
It's God, they're like with the second one coming out and everything. That's mainly why I'm replaying it right now. It's been out since 2016. They've been doing updates on it, but like there's some new additions to the game. It's hard to stream, like she said, because they talk a lot. But yeah, no, it's like I'm mainly a story based streamer, so a lot of that stuff I really enjoy, and just the heavy storylines and all that stuff. And they've got some more additions in regards to like decisions and different paths you can take in regards of like the reactions of the characters and everything. But yeah, I don't know what else I could really add on to that other than what people already know since it's been out for so long. I'm just addicted to it because of the games that have that, like, where you make a decision and like you can do another playthrough and it kind of like tricks you thinking like you're playing the game again, but you're actually not. I love that. That's like my favorite thing.
I mean, like, the game's been out for a very long time, so I'm not too concerned about spoilers on this podcast. So something that we could just say is just like, is there anything that you're getting out of, like, because I don't think you did like the full set of every ending the first time you played through it, right?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay, so now that like you're returning to it, is there anything kind of specifically stand out that the game is doing that you think is interesting that you didn't get out of the first playthrough?
I guess probably for me it's like the different character arcs, because like as an actor it's very I don't want to say obvious. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here, but it's something that you like tend to pay attention to a lot more, is the character arcs and just how they change in the story, and like the difference in like personality, and you know, like how people kind of, I mean, like for example, for those who have played Oxenfree, for those who have played Oxenfree, Clarissa obviously comes out as like a very, you know, mean character that just doesn't like Alex very much. But then as she grows throughout the series or throughout the game, you definitely see a lot more human side of her, and that villainous type like backstory, I guess, of like where she's been hurt and everything. But there's this storyline that I found that I've been playing through where she's just straight up a villain. Like there's actually a portion of it where she just doesn't care. Like you could try to be nice to her, you could try to help her, and she doesn't care at all. It's insane, because it's like there's always a reason for people to do things that they do, or you know, for characters to act the way they do. But in this specific storyline, she just does it because she wants to, and it's the most messed up thing ever. But that's probably the most interesting thing to me, really. But yeah.
To me, the most interesting thing is the fact that game apparently doesn't have a volume slider for the music.
I hate it. It's so dumb. That's like the main complaint too, because it's such a good game and it's well written and everything, and the art is amazing. But the volume thing is the only issue that makes people like want to return it and get their money back.
Like I was looking at Steam reviews for it the other day, and it's like, yep, no, there's still why can't you turn the music down?
Literally.
It's not an uncommon complaint about Oxenfree.
No, I just hope in their second one that they actually, you know, maybe take note of that and don't mess it up again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that should be such an easy thing to do, really, as well. Like,
yeah.
The thing with Oxenfree, though, is it always, like, especially looking at it now, I look at it and I go, okay, was that, like, an oversight, or was that a design decision?
I really hope it wasn't a design
It's hard to tell with Oxenfree.
Yeah, I don't know, but, like...
It is.
Yeah, just for accessibility's sake, for people like hard of hearing and whatnot, or like the opposite, you know, like with sensitive ears, I hope they put in proper volume sliders, and that includes music, and then voices, and then sound effects, and then also freaking cutscenes. Oh my god, I could rant about that so much.
That's the worst when you're just like playing a game, and it's all nice and quiet, and then suddenly just like full volume cutscene, and you're like, ah, and you fall into your chair.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's like, oh gosh, The Beast Inside. I think I just recently played that one, and that one, oh, the cutscenes volume is just awful. Like, you don't even realize that it's a different volume slider until something plays, and you're like, oh, I am now deaf. I can't hear anything.
Yeah. Fair warning about Pharaoh. Actually, Pharaoh starts you off with an unskippable cutscene before you can regulate volume. So make sure to make it quiet before you actually like start in. After that, then you can skip it and you can adjust the volume and it's like fine. But for some reason, unskippable cutscene, no volume controls at the start. It's like,
Turn
why?
your PC volume all the way down.
It's just why? Like, why does that happen?
Oh gosh.
I'm looking at Oxenfree 2's Steam page right now, and I'm not gonna get used to seeing publisher Netflix, like ever.
Yeah, I know.
That's strange to me.
It's like, I'm very excited about it, just in the fact that I know Netflix, when they're part of those kinds of, like, part of games and stuff in development, they focus a lot on the actual, like, film production, I guess is the best way to say it.
It's like they're trying to be a second Annapurna.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, maybe because of Netflix, volume sliders will actually be in there, but
well, I mean, all the Netflix ownership really does, it gets them a lot of money, and they're not doing exclusive launches, which is nice. So it's not going to be like a Into the Breach mobile kind of situation where like, yeah, Into the Breach is on phones now, only if you have a Netflix subscription, and not globally. There's like a handful of countries it's like straight up just not available in. But if you have a Netflix subscription and you have the app installed on your phone and you scroll down to the bottom of the app and you look specifically for it, because you can't search for it because their search function is terrible, you can find Into the Breach on Netflix and download it and play it, which I guess this will just be added to that list because, the first Oxenfree was on phones. So, and then aside from that, it'll just be released on Steam and wherever else. So it's just... For me, it's less of I'm not worried that they're going to mess with the game itself. I'm just worried that like the game will come out and they'll be like, all right, that didn't make enough money. You're out. Bye. Shut the studio down. But, then everybody from night school can just go start a new studio because like, that's totally never happened before.
That's very
Take the money
true.
and run. Make the thing you want to make and then go do another thing.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's pretty much how just the entirety of this world works, really.
Yep. Speaking of worlds working, I'm going to talk about a game that nobody's heard of. Well, actually, FG might have, because I think I've talked about it on here before. So there's this lad named Dr. Mark R. Johnson, and he describes himself as a lecturer in digital cultures in the Department of Media Communications in the University of Sydney. This is straight up from his own website. But essentially, he wanted to learn how to program. And so instead of making, like a simple game, he decided to make a endless forever project roguelike called Ultima. I'm going to butcher this probably. Ultima Ratio Regum. And it is it is a history simulator that generates large world with countries, cities, farmland, different districts for each city, different factions associated with each set of cities, different countries with different cultures, right down to like their mannerisms, the way their dialogue is generated, their clothing, their furniture, the like different appearances of floors. It also generates images for everything, so you can like walk into a room and like look at a table, and depending on what part of the world you're in, the table will look different because of the materials that they used and the like designs on the table and whatnot. And also you can tell how valuable the table is based on like how rich the house and the owner of the house is, and then you can go into town and find the owner of the house and ask them about their table. It's a game. My experience with it over the years is always like, wow, this is fascinating, but there isn't a game here because you just like appear in the world somewhere and there's nothing to do. You just walk around and you can talk to people. You don't die or anything. There was never really any enemies. I think there was a version of the game once that had like a dragon or something, but they never really had any kind of combat systems or anything. It was always just like, you can look at this thing or run away from it. So it's always been like this really weirdly half-built thing, but it's free. So whenever he puts an update out, maybe once a year or so, I'll just be like, "Ooh, let's go see what's going on in URR. Let's dive in and mess around a little bit." It's currently in its current state. You can talk to people, you can trade with people. Currency sort of functions. There's apparently combat. I haven't found it yet. But the kind of overarching end goal of the game that he's talked about on the Roguelike Radio podcast and in other places is he wants the game to be you appear in a strange world, and the goal is to basically go through a murder mystery that the game has generated for you. And you have to talk to people in different cities around the world, do small tasks, and learn about the politics of the world to figure out what the mystery is and then solve it. And he's always wanted combat to be a very minimal thing, which is something that I'm fascinated by. I really like the concept of non-combat games, especially non-combat roguelikes and traditional ones even more so, where the entire game is more just going around sleuthing and talking to people and like figuring out how the culture works and like why this is, and figure out what you're looking for and speaking with different individuals and like working your way up through the like hierarchy of a country, only to end up getting assassinated by somebody. But it's a weird little game, and it doesn't get a lot of press for obvious reasons. I mean, it doesn't really have graphics outside of the generated images. It is largely text. It's very clean for what it is, and as far as I'm concerned, it's really pretty. But for a lot of people, it's a bit much. It's got massively huge, impressive maps. It's got really cool buildings and areas and catacombs to explore. It's basically, it's just like a giant world explorer where you have to talk to people and like figure out what each different faction wants from you and how you can like get by in a day in a city you've never been in. It's kind of got this neat like stranger in a strange land kind of feel. I haven't streamed this version because he put out this current update like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or something. But I have played a good chunk of it off stream, and it's neat. I really like URR, and I hope that it gets a proper release at some point, because like Dr. Mark Hart Johnson's gone through a couple phases where he's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to update it again. And then like 6 months later, actually, I updated it. So we'll see. Weird forever projects that are free that make no money get weird development timelines. But yeah, it's a fun thing to dive into and just like look at coins. Just be like, oh, whose face is on this? And then you go asking everybody about the face that's on the coin.
This sounds like one of those games where you like talk about it, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really, 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 really cool. But then I like boot it up, and then my ADHD brain goes like, okay,
I walked in a straight line for an hour. What happened?
This looks cool. I'm leaving now. Bye. Like, I don't know. There is just something about these games, as cool as they sound, because it does sound really cool and fun to explore, but it's just not quite for my brain. But it sounds like a really cool project, and like a really impressive project as well. Like,
I don't want to misquote, but I think he said on the roguelike something to the point of this, where he's like, one of the large reasons he's still developing it is so that he can use it as part of his lectures.
Fair enough.
Like it's literally like he just used it as part of his university lectures.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
what does he teach? Do you know?
Good question.
I'm curious, because that's actually like it's a really cool just concept of using that as part of that. And then I'm wondering if it's like some kind of psychology thing, because my brain does the same thing.
He's published in scholarly journals including Information, Communication and Society, Social Studies of Science, Games and Culture, Convergence, and the Sociological Review, whatever that means, and has written parts of books.
Parts of books.
Professional academic.
Yeah,
that
sounds
like
it.
Really cool. Yeah, because I was like, the reason I asked, because my brain does the exact same thing as well. Like, I look at that and I think maybe it's just the overwhelm of like information. That's one of the reasons why I go story games, because it's like that kind of game looks so cool, but there's so much to do and so much to explore and so much information to gain that my brain just goes, overdrive.
The funny thing for me is like a game like this, especially URR or like Caves of Cud, which is another game I've been playing a lot recently, is like, yes, it looks like kind of this crazy overwhelm of information, but if you play a bunch of it, very quickly you start to see all the stuff that you need to look for and the stuff that you don't. Like, it's a lot of useless. Like, I'm trying to think of like an analog here. It's kind of like I don't know, Detroit Become Human. You know, like when you walk into a room, everything has information there, but very quickly you learn, okay, so this is something that's important. This is something to it that's important, and I can ignore the rest of this flavor text. Or if you're playing like an RPG and everything has an item description, you obviously don't need to read the description of every single bucket you see.
Yeah.
You know, if you're playing something and everything has flavor text, it's like, sure, except the difference here is it's all generated, right? So you instead of like reading all of the flavor text and looking at the images on every single door, well, pretty quickly you'll start to see patterns. You'll start to see like repeating images, and you're like, okay, well, I've spent 15 minutes walking around in this new district of a city that I just walked into, not even, maybe 5 minutes, just like examining a few things, and then you kind of get the gist of what's going on, and then you go find the people that are important that you need to talk to, instead of like you walk into a city and you're just like, well, I'm just gonna examine every brick, because you don't need to, right? It takes a little bit to get past that. Okay, well, what is important to me and what is important to this character at this time, and like using Caves of Cud as an example, it's like Caves of Cud is just like an overload of information. Everything has lore on it. Everything has like important bits in it. But you also only need to read it once. And a lot of these games are games about dying and losing constantly, because like traditional roguelikes, when you're dead, you're dead. That's it. Done. Like, game over. Go back to the beginning. Start a new character. Reroll. Maybe start with the same build, but generally just reroll. And because of that kind of structure, it lends itself to, while you're learning the game and still learning the mechanics and coming to terms with what you need to do as a player character in a world, that's when you're reading all that flavor text. And that flavor text doesn't change, usually, in these types of games. Sometimes it can change, but generally it doesn't change. And so all you really need to do is, once you've kind of gotten past that initial learning curve, you've already learned what you should be reading and what you shouldn't be. And then beyond that point, it's just anything new you find is exciting instead of like repetitive, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And you learn to filter through it all, pretty much.
So that was my big old block of text. FG, talk to me about Hitman, the world of Assassination.
Yeah, so...
How many briefcases have you thrown at people?
None, actually.
What?
I haven't...
You're playing the wrong game.
So I haven't actually played that much. I meant to, and then Pharaoh kind of happened. But so people are playing Hitman 3 again after like all the shenanigans with like versions and merging and that sort of stuff, because they put out a run-based version. So you start basically on sort of it is not a randomly generated excuse me, it's not a randomly generated map, because it pulls from the map pool that is in the game now, which is like the world of Assassination, which is like 3, 2, and 1 all together, plus the DLCs and that sort of stuff. So there is a pretty big map pool, but it basically pulls a map. It pulls randomized targets. It gives you the objective, obviously, to kill your targets, but then also you get extra objectives that you see beforehand, like kill the target, I don't know, making them like trip or slip or drown them or shoot them with a sniper rifle, with a silent sniper rifle.
So what you're telling me is that if I keep killing people with cans of soup, then they're going to give me less points? You
don't get less points. You don't get extra points, because you have specific objectives that you like have to you obviously have the objective to kill them. So if you successfully kill them and you leave, you get points because you did that. But there are specific objectives, as I said, like specific ways of killing it, or like also kill these targets and that sort of stuff. And that's, yeah, basically that. And you spawn also in a random location on the map. So if you're lucky and you spawn right next to your target, you can literally finish a map in like 20 seconds. Right? You just go in, you just snap their neck and you leave. And I don't know, I've just been watching people play, and it just seems like it's like one of those games that's really, in a way, fun to stream, because, you know, it's cool when you succeed, but it's also really funny when you fail.
Gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of emergent gameplay and like unexpected chaos. Or it's actually it's the video game equivalent of the sudden chaos subreddit.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just go in, and it's even more with this run-based mode, because you just get dumped in a situation. You have no idea what's going on, really. You don't know where you start, and then you get to equip a couple of items, and then you get one randomized item out of a case of 3 that you can pull to bring with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can find some items also in the map, like screwdrivers or crowbars, and that sort of stuff. And if you subdue some people of the bad guys, you can get guns and that sort of stuff. And but it's always like a wacky situation, that sort of stuff. Like the last map I did, I killed my target within 2 minutes because I was right next to him, and then I spent 15 minutes trying to find the exit. And just like silly things like that. It's just really, really, really fun. And yeah, it's fun. If it's pretty heckin' expensive because like you buy everything now, so it's like bonkers expensive. But you also get all of the other older Hitman games, right? In Hitman 3 in the engine. So they look really nice. Like the old games, basically, it's just a remaster, basically, right? They look really nice. Not even remaster, remake. Like they look really, really, really good. So if you enjoy...
I mean, they looked good when they were new.
Yeah, and they look really good now. So like there's a lot of content there, and then run-based mode is... Yeah, it's just really fun and wacky, and watching speedrunners do it is crazy. Like
one of my favorite streams moments that I saw of that was I was watching a games journalist that I support on Patreon play it, and he just like spawned behind he spawned in a kitchen wearing like a chef's outfit, and it's like target was like right in at the bar. He just like grabbed this steak knife, walked around to the front of the bar, stabbed him in the head, turned around, walked out the back, out the exit.
Yep. Yeah, it's just
like, walk up, bonk, walk out.
Yeah, because it's so random.
Everybody's screaming, guns are getting fired. He just walks out the back door.
Yeah, and sometimes you're like on the opposite end of the map, and like the target is like through 3 security layers where you have to like grab get an outfit, infiltrate, get another outfit, infiltrate the next layer, and so on and so forth. And it gets it's really difficult. So like you never know what you're gonna get, and it's quite fun. Like but then also the story missions, like the actual story modes of the game are also really, really, really good. So yeah, it's really fun, and I know it's brought a lot of people like back to Hitman, and people really like it. And yeah, I had fun playing it too. I need to play more of it because I only did one stream of it for now, but I really enjoyed it.
It makes me really curious because like IO Interactive is going on to make a James Bond game next.
I mean, it fits. Doesn't it? Like, it really fits.
What I want to know is if there will be some mention of an Agent 47.
There must be. They already have so many references here and there.
I mean, they're not going to dress James Bond up in a giant flamingo suit and let him lay an egg, so... Which is a thing you can do, and I think it's Hitman 2?
You can do
the second one?
So many wacky things, and yeah, it's great. And like outfits, and then like... There are like weaponized rubber duckies and I don't know, explosive baseballs and that sort of stuff, which I actually threw at a target and it didn't kill it. Like it killed the one that was sitting in front of it, but apparently that was enough of a shock absorber to not die. And then he just kind of goes, "Huh, well, this person is dead now. Help!" But nobody saw me do it, so I was safe, right? So it's like, I don't know.
The best part about Hitman is it's extremely obvious that it's a video game. It's like if you explain what Hitman is to like my parents, they would think that it's horrible. But like when you're actually playing Hitman, it is such a clockwork machine that just it shows the edges so much, like which is intentional, right? And like it's very clearly like everybody has their patterns. You can very quickly figure out where people are going, what this character does. And that's the video game, is figuring out, okay, where's the break in the pattern so that I can walk in and like snap a neck. Yep. But when you're explaining it to somebody, they're just like, oh, that sounds horrible. But like actually watching gameplay of Hitman is
it's just funny and just it's entertaining, right? Yeah. It is obviously
like it's
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go.
No,
you go.
Nope. I was just gonna say that like I feel like it's very similar, like the glitches and stuff that happen with Hitman that make it quite entertaining for some of the stuff too. It's very similar to like Assassin's Creed, and like those stealth missions and like the glitches that I've seen in Hitman 3 specifically of just some things happening that are just so out of whack. Like there was one person that I was watching play Hitman. I don't know if you guys know Crusader, but I was watching her play it, and she got to a mission where she was supposed to take a guy out, and then he just glitched through a wall, just literally walked through a wall, and so she had to go through another layer of security, like doing the switching of, and she was just freaking out, being like, I like literally had the guy in the grasp to kill him, and then he walked through a wall, and she's like, what? How? What? Huh?
That's incredible.
Like some things just happen with those games, and it's like yeah, like you said, it's an obvious that it's a video game, but when you hear about it, when you're just talking about it, it's like it sounds awful.
It's like, oh yeah, I killed a man with a can of soup today. What'd you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I mean, like, there's that classic GIF that came out. I want to say this was like what the second or third map of Hitman 1 when it was a subscription thing, which I think like completely killed it. But it was like this guy gets on a jet ski and like goes around the bay, and the player just like threw a briefcase at his head right as he got onto the jet ski, and the jet ski went faster than the briefcase, but the briefcase followed him. So it's like a minute-long GIF of this guy just like zipping around in the in this like bay area on a beach with just this briefcase following him. And then he comes back to the shore, gets off and says, "Hello, sir," and then bang! It's in the back of the head, dead. Mission complete. Just like, wow.
I love it when it's like that, but it's like the game does it for you. Where it's like they fall off a balcony or something. Like they're just walking and they fall, and it's like mission completed. And you're like, I'm just gonna go.
There was a NoClip did a documentary on Hitman and IO Interactive, and they asked them about the briefcase thing, and they were like, "Were you aware that it would do that there?" And they were like, "Nope." When that video popped up, that was the first time we saw it. We officially wrote it down as not a bug feature because of how hard we were all laughing.
Yeah, it's just there's so much, because there's so many. This sounds so horrible. There are so many creative ways that you can kill people in that video game.
Well,
So
it's like slaps.
yeah. It is.
It's as close as you can get to like a Naked Gun video game. You know, it's like it's slapstick comedy. Like it's peak tier slapstick comedy.
Yep.
I love how you could literally do things that have nothing to do with the oh my gosh. Help! What is
the assassination target?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Target.
That have literally nothing to do with that. Like there was one. I'll admit, FG, I was looking at your clips and stuff because I was like, I want to get to know her before we do the streams. And I was looking at the clips, and I was just like, and the one where you just gave the guys a shower and walked away. I was like, yeah, they're stinky. They needed it. They smelled bad. I was like, the peak humor is amazing.
Yeah, they were like they were actually friendlies. Like they were like, oh god, we recognize you, help us. And I just turned the water on and left.
Yeah, just you guys need to have a shower. I'll help you later. Bye.
And then I died. But yeah, that was just so good. It's really fun. No, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's just silly.
There was a person I watched ages ago who used to speedrun Halo, and he was playing through, I think it was Hitman 2 at the time. And he just got onto the map, and he was like, all right, where's my target? And he, like, locates the target, and he's, like, slowly stealthing towards, and it's like, target eliminated! And he's like, I did nothing. I guess I leave the map now. It was a map that has, like, a racetrack, and somehow, like, the model got on the racetrack and got hit by a car.
That is amazing, actually. Is there a way to kill someone with a pan?
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really need that satisfying sound where you just hit him over the head with it and just boom. I
would presume there is.
There's definitely like there's cutlery, so why not like a cooking item?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you can pick it up, you can throw it, and if you can throw it, you can kill somebody with it.
Yeah,
that's very true.
That's true. Yeah.
I am gonna totally ADD on you guys, so tell me if I'm going way too off course. But the pan thing just reminded me. Have you guys ever played Little Big Planet?
I haven't actually.
Very, 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 very long time.
Because there's the PC like online game that you can play with friends now, and I've been like trying to see if people have played it just to see what they think, because apparently it's very, very good. And I was just, yeah. Anyways, sorry. I was like, I want to play that, but ADD.
What platform is that on?
It's on Steam, I think.
Is it called Little Big Planet?
Yeah, it's
Or
literally
is this
called Little Big
Sackboy
Planet.
Adventures thing?
Might be
Sackboy Big Adventure, maybe.
Yes, that one.
Yes, no, haven't played this. I was unaware that it came out.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I was really interested in trying it because it looks like it actually would be pretty decent. But then I also am very hesitant on getting games like that have been moved to PC and if they're good or not.
Well, I mean, it's got good reviews. Mm-hmm. Generally, 80% positive is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
This person is complaining that it's harder than the Lego games, and their kids couldn't play it to the end. They're like, this game's good for what it is, but it's harder than the Lego games. Okay, that's a interesting take.
Don't let your kids play it. Solved. Boom.
Eh.
Back in my day, we played the one game that we had, and if it was super duper hard, we still played it all the way and tried to beating our head against the wall.
Very true.
I just remember playing Shadow of the Colossus in Little Big Planet.
Oh my, yeah, when the people could do like custom maps and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I never played the actual. If there was like a game in that, I never played it, but there was like one kid that I knew who had Little Big Planet. It was like a friend of mine's little brother, actually, I think, had it. And he was just like, yeah, well, all this stuff sucks, but look at this. You play Shadow of the Colossus, right? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. And he goes, look at this. And we played through all of Shadow Colossus in Little Big Planet. It was like very short, admittedly. It was like you just kind of traversed from area to area and then killed a big like Colossus and go to the next one. But it was like literally a remake of Shadow of the Colossus in there. Oh, also, it's the original Super Mario Brothers, like 1-1, all that. Did that too. Little Big Planet was a journey back in the day.
Definitely was. Like if you go back and look at it now, it's one of those games you can go back and look at it and be like, oh my lord, this did not age well.
What, like visually?
Well, just like the visuals and then like the voice acting and stuff like that.
Oh,
it's just it's you know, it's for kids.
I mean, I was a kid when it was new.
This is very true.
So it was kind of the right place, right time.
Yeah, I was the type of person with those games. And the reason why I went from Pan to ADD to Pinball Brain to that was I was the type of friend that I would play with people and then I'd just be smacking them with the pan off the map every single time and piss them off.
Oh.
I always ask friends, I'm like, if you guys want to play with me, that'd be great. But fair warning, you're going to get very angry very quickly because you will not be able to finish a map with me.
It's like playing the new Super Mario Brothers people with my little game with my little sister. It's like, you're not supposed to pop the bubble. Stop popping my bubble. I'm over don't pop the bubble.
Yeah. You tell me not to do it, I'm going to do it more.
Yep. Anyways, is there anything else we want to cover games-wise, or should we go on to news?
I have not played anything else this week.
You've just played Hitman and Pharaoh? I guess like it's so strange after like the demo week where it's like, I have 70 games to talk about versus now.
I played something else on Tuesday, but I literally can't remember what I played.
Must have been memorable. I mean, I played Cheese Runner, but that's not a video game.
No, what did I play? Like, honest, now I'm like sitting here like, what did I play on my, what did I do? Oh shoot, oh god, I feel so horrible. I played Plan B Terraform, which was amazing. I'm so sorry, I feel so bad. I actually really enjoyed that.
Plan B? What it?
So Plan B.
Is that thing out or is that a demo, actually?
No, that's out. It's an early access. That's out. Plan B Terraform. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Dang it. It's a really chill factory automation game with like really like pastel-y like graphics in a way. And yeah, it's a factory automation game where your goal is to terraform the planet and like melt the ice caps and that sort of stuff. And
Terraforming Mars. Stop me if you've heard this one before. I think it's Mars.
It's actually not Mars though.
It's not Mars?
It's not Mars.
Just generic
no.
red planet.
Yeah, no, it's actually not Mars, but it's just really chill and relaxing, but it will tackle your brain because there's production chains. They're not like super duper over the top crazy yet, but they're enough like where you have to be like, okay, so I have to put this and then I have to get this and then I have to build this city up to get this and then move it. Like it's really good. It's obviously not finished yet because it's early access, but I really enjoyed it. I played it for like 17, 18 hours in total. And it's like pretty freaking cheap. It's like less than £10. Rather, actually, less than 10 US.
Yeah, it's $11.69 Canadian.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, with
That is
10% off still. Yeah, it's £7.65. It's by the person who made who made Dig or Die. People might be
Yeah, I
familiar
remember
with
Dig or
that.
Die, when everybody played that for like a week.
And I mean, that has like 3,500 positive reviews. Plan B Terraform already has 400 positive 350 positive reviews. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Seems neat.
Yep.
I'm always scared away of factory automation games very quickly because I look at them and I go, oh no, I'm gonna hate this. But this does look really, really, really pretty. I really like the look of it. The color palette's nice.
It is. It's very satisfying to watch or to look at. It also runs really nice. Like I played the demo on my old rig, so I can still say that. It runs really well. It looks really nice. It's not finished. There's some there's some glitches and bugs. Like for example, you can cross roads and train tracks, but if you cross train tracks over roads, it'll just completely like bug out the visual for the road. It still works, but it just, it's not perfect. But the dev is, he's working on it, and it's a small team. It's like the dev, an artist, and an intern, and that's it.
I was gonna say, like, I'm pretty sure it's like 3 people that made Dig or Die or something.
Yeah,
like, the guy, the artist, and then the other person.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm probably gonna be, I want to play more when there's a big content update.
Cool. This is one that I was like tempted to play before it came out, just because I like the look of it, but. I'd need to actually see some gameplay, and I haven't seen anybody playing it yet, so, All right, well, I think we're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back from that break, we're going to talk about the news. We've got some interesting ones and some serious ones, so that should be fun. Back right after this. And we're back with that episode 57 of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, and I'm Blind, and I'm hosting this episode. And we're going to talk about the news from this week. So I'm just going to start off with this first one because it's bizarre and strange, and I'm not sure how it happened. But this is a Steam community post for the game Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, which some of you might remember or have played before. It is a city builder in a very Soviet style, very sandboxy, a lot of production chains and pain. It was one of the least pleasant gaming experiences of my life, but I completely understand why people like it. It's got a very dedicated community that follows it. And anyway, so this got posted on their community post. And you can still find their community posts through the community, but you can't find the Steam page for the game. So I'm just going to read this verbatim. The game has been taken down to a DMCA request. The issue is described below, and you cannot purchase the game at this time. In short, one of the players who created a guide on how to play the game is now claiming that they own the rights to the game, the realistic mode, the rights to the realistic mode of the game. And thank you for your understanding, and we are working to resolve this issue. And then they write this in character because they do this. Hello, dear comrades. Then they say that they're General Secretary of the People's Party of 3 Division here. We recently got the first enemy of our Soviet Republic. This enemy is making our life harder and significantly slowing down the development process. He was a once respected member of our community and is now and one of our best party members, but he decided to betray our republic, our party, and our ideas. It all began when we started to work on realistic mode, and he thinks he invented it or made it possible. Well, if he had kindly asked, we would have added him into the game's credits. We probably would do it together with other guys that have made various guides and challenges or contributions, but first, we need to finish the game, and then we can update the game's credits. But he decided to contact us as a lawyer and started to abuse the YouTube report system, issuing copyright strikes to one of our most helpful influencers, and prior to getting our opinion on the issue. Anyway, so it just kind of continued until he fired off a DMCA takedown request at the game itself on Steam.
So,
which is bananas.
Absolutely insane.
That's crazy. It's so... How how does this like?
The fact that yeah, we're all just in shock. Just the fact that somebody wants to take credit so badly that they would just go out of their way to,
Yeah, that. And then also that Valve, like, I don't know, like, because I guess it is an official DMCA claim, and Valve has to comply with it because otherwise it's the same with Twitch. They lose their safe harbor status, right? But then, like, this person doesn't really, like, how do you even... They don't have anything tangible, right? Like, how does it... How... I don't...
They created a guide for a mod.
Yeah.
Which is admittedly a very popular guide. But... Anyway, apparently they're already in talks with Valve to get the game back online. And this was posted yesterday, I think? Yeah, as of the 16th. Yeah. And the game is still offline.
Yeah.
Like, you still can't buy the game yet. So, I mean, shoutouts to 3 Division, and I hope they get their game back online.
Yeah,
but,
hopefully.
Man. FG, do you want to take the second one?
Yeah. This is something. So a little part of me goes like, ha 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 ha. But then on the other hand, it's also like, it's just tax evasion strategies. Not necessarily evasion, but like tax strategies, right? So Roblox posted their financial earnings data for 2022, and they made a crap load of money in revenue, 2.2 billion in revenue. In bookings,
mostly off of child labor.
Yeah, child labor. That's in bookings, 2.29. But then overall, their net loss for the entire company was 934 million. Which, when you hear that and you go like, oh, haha, that's Roblox is going down. No, Roblox is not going down. It's their user base went up by 23%. In 2022 to over now 56 million. During the fourth quarter, there were actually even almost 60 million daily active users. So basically, they're making crap tons of monies. They're just investing it, aka that way losing money for tax reasons and to grow the company even further. It's not like Roblox is unfortunately not going anywhere anytime soon. They're still printing freaking money, but like through tax shenanigans and clever deductions and investments, they basically can report we all know how that works to report net loss and that sort of stuff. So yeah, they're unfortunately still here to stay.
Yeah, Roblox is one of those things where I remember when it was new. Like, I remember kids like my age being like, "Yo, have you played Roblox? Like, have you heard of Roblox?" And this was like in 2007 or something. And just going like, "No," and then looking it up and going, "This looks awful," and then just like going back to playing Age of Empires or whatever I was playing. But there's just something about it where it's just like I get why it appeals to kids.
Yeah, no,
it's like a mix between Lego and Minecraft.
But it's not though. It's like it's visually, yeah, sure, it's Lego and Minecraft, but it's Lego and Minecraft, but it's also Unity. It's like it's like kids' first game engine. Which is if it was financed differently, might be one of the coolest tools for teaching kids how to make games in the world, but because of the business model that it uses and the way it makes its money, it's like insidious to a point where I question how it's legal. But,
yeah, I don't know.
Like, the NFT market blew up the other year, and it's like, if you go into Roblox and you go to the Roblox store and you go to what they call items and then you go to rare, there is a item-based stock market identical to the Steam item store, but like everything is an order of magnitude more expensive.
Yeah. They make crap
It's like,
tons of
yeah,
money
you
that
could go
way.
spend $200 on a hat in TF2, or you could spend $16,000 on a Gucci bag for Roblox. And if you buy it within Roblox, then Roblox takes 40%. Or you can buy it through a third-party site and just trade it directly and send them cash via PayPal or crypto.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird thing.
Yep.
I haven't decided as to whether or not I want to make Allie read this next
Oh no.
title. I can read it if you want to do the next one.
You know what? I'll get it over and done with. Why not? Depends on if I'm allowed to say these words on the podcast.
We're allowed to say whatever as long as it's reasonable.
Perfect. Oh, I have to read it now? Okay.
I mean, it's a medical term, technically, so it's totally fine. There's nothing weird about
This
this.
is true. This is true. I see. This is a setup. This is okay. For this next one, Witcher 3, a vagina modder claims CDPR used mod without permission. So apparently, from how what's written here, pretty much, it seems that the author of this article had contacted the original modder for the creation, as they call, of the vulva saga, and apparently CDPR added the more realistic genitals to the women of The Witcher 3 with the next gen update, but it was without permission from the original creator.
Like as I understand it, it was like that their next gen update was a bunch of work that CDPR did, but like also like it was about a half dozen mods that they also put in, and they paid all the modders.
Yeah.
But turns out some of these modders weren't very good at crediting people's mods that they took from for their mods, which is hysterical because the exact same thing happened with Dwarf Fortress relatively recently.
Oh god! But
Where
for
they
this
hired people to work
specific,
on the game, and it's like, well,
it's just such a. It's such a.
it's the exact thing that would go uncredited though.
It is, and I feel bad for the modder because like obviously those kinds of things, like when you make something like that, it takes a lot of work and you deserve the credit for it. But at the same time, like of all things to go uncredited.
Yeah, the mod vaginas for everyone.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you want it to look pretty, so you know you gotta mod it in. That's just how it is.
It reminds me of like Skyrim modding. It's like smooth faces.
Yeah.
That mod is included in like every single mod pack and never credited. But it's like, yes, smooth faces. I know this. I know this mod.
I think the thing that I find the funniest about this entire thing is that they're like grouping it in with the mods that gave Geralt like the different hairstyles and everything like that. And the way that it's written is just very like, oh yes, there's different hair in both areas.
But yeah, this is possibly the most CDPR, or not CDP, this is the most Kotaku article, the headline I've ever seen. And when it popped up on Tuesday, I just like immediately spat out my coffee and burst out laughing. And it's still kind of that way. And like CDPR is doing their damnedest to like fix the whole situation and get everybody credited. So like it's currently, I think it's been removed from the game, but from what I was reading, they're looking into compensation. So
Yeah. Just the creativity of people is quite interesting sometimes.
I mean, it fits in The Witcher generally.
Yep.
I mean, it does, yeah.
If you're gonna put nude models in any game, it's The Witcher.
Oh Lord.
All right, on a much more serious note, Microsoft confirms that Game Pass cannibalizes sales. So this is this is all coming out of the Xbox Activision Blizzard King buyout, because they're talking with the CMA of UK, which is the Consumer Market Authority. going off my brain. I think that's correct. And they expect Xbox tells UK CMA that it expects titles to have a decline in base game sales for at least a year following the inclusion into the subscription service. This article comes from GamesIndustry.biz, and so this essentially what they're saying is that games that go onto Game Pass see a loss in sales. Now, the kind of asterisk here that I think is necessary to point out is the only data that they actually have is their games, right? So games that they are self-publishing that they're also putting onto Steam and other platforms, and that are also concurrently for sale on Xbox. So like and on Game Pass. So like as an example, like Halo Infinite, right? Halo Infinite, why would you buy Halo Infinite's DLC single player mode on Steam when you could just go play it for $10 on Game Pass or any of their other first party titles? And this is really interesting because in this article they pull a pretty choice quote from Phil Spencer, where this was back from 2018, where he states that games that are released on Game Pass tend to sell better because gamers go to where the players are, and if a game is on Game Pass, it's going to have more players. And the exact example that they cite there was for Forza Horizon. So like the player base just like inflates, and then everybody buys the game because there's a lot of people playing it, right? Which, admittedly, you could look at that and be like, okay, well, yeah, that seems kind of logical for like multiplayer games, but I look at that and I go, that's 2018, that's 5 years ago. So I think that things have changed a little bit, and I would not be surprised at all that this is very much true for, I'm just going to throw out a game that I played on Game Pass that I haven't bought yet, Citizen Sleeper. I played through Citizen Sleeper. I loved Citizen Sleeper. I would like to buy Citizen Sleeper, but I haven't bought Citizen Sleeper yet. And I would have bought Citizen Sleeper day one if it wasn't on Game Pass. I've since actually dropped Game Pass because I just realized I wasn't using it for like 3 months. I was like, well, this is a waste of money, so I don't actually have it anymore. But there is definitely examples of like single player games or shorter games that you can just sit down and beat in like one session on Game Pass. That is, will probably for most games be a lost sale, but I don't know. It's weird like hearing developers talk about Game Pass because it kind of comes from like two perspectives. The main perspective is like, well, they're getting paid up front, so who cares about sales for your game? And then there's the second side of it, which is, well, if you're complaining, maybe you should have argued for a better split, because that's how these contracts work, is every developer gets a separate contract for their game based on what their game is and the size of the team and the amount of development time they had to put into it.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, you go ahead. No,
you go.
Okay. So the thing is, like, I wonder how much that is also like due to the increase in Game Pass price and the price of like games in total as well, because I assume some people out there probably and like also like, because 2020, people like and now like, recession, people have less money to spend, stuff's gotten really expensive, so maybe I don't know from when those numbers are and how long the term is for that they gather these data for. Is it like just 2022? Is it like since 2018? How long? Like what because we don't know, because it even says like internal analysis shows a redacted % decline in base game sales 12 months following their addition on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. I mean, it says redacted. Mm-hmm. It could be 2%. We don't know, yeah. Right? Also, like how like what time frame? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there for whom it was like Game Pass kind of has become the only way to play a game, because they that $10 a month, $10 a month, $12 a month, whatever, how Game Pass is, like the cost is now, might be doable rather than buying 1 or 2 games every month that are like maybe $60 or more, depending like what games they buy. So it makes sense that it goes down because it is so much more affordable. But like the percentage here, I think the percentage here makes a really, like, makes or breaks this headline. Because it's like, if it's like, Game Pass makes titles sell 2% less, it's like, not a big deal. Is it 50% less? That's a big deal, right? It depends a little bit. Because, like, if your game sells, I don't know, 1 million copies, 2% of that is not that big of a deal. Is it 500,000 of 1 million copies less? That's a big deal. So
Yeah.
that would really help to know. I understand them not releasing that number, but it would help to know.
Yeah, once again, it's also only on their first party titles, right? And there's a lot of games that are out on Game Pass and then immediately disappear. I know that there was an example of a game like Anacrusis, which came out on Game Pass, and they largely not accused, but have been pretty clear in that they think that their game sold worse because it was on Game Pass. Specifically because their game was an early access game when it launched, and they wish that they could have capitalized better on Steam sales initially and then put it on Game Pass later. Also, they agreed to be on Game Pass before Game Pass, like they were one of the first like initial wave of Game Pass games, and so it was still a very new service, and they didn't realize how much of a impact that would have on them, and it completely wrecked their servers. It completely overloaded everything, and like if they weren't on Game Pass, they think that they would have launched smoother and sold more copies. But at the same time, like they did get a bunch of money to put it on Game Pass, so like it's. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I think that this kind of information is interesting, and also Ali, were you going to say something on the subject or?
No, I pretty much everything that's already been said, because I was just going to say about the redacted thing as well, just that it's you can't really, it's like one of those things where it's just the eye catching, I guess, for me on this whole thing, because it's like you don't really know how much they're actually losing. So it's very much a, like, it could be something huge, or it could be something where they're just like or someone is making a bigger deal out of it than it actually is.
Well, that's how you get clicks for a headline, right? Naturally.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But, I think this kind of business model has cannibalized other industries completely, like Spotify, Apple Music, Netflix. So we'll see. I think that there's a lot of people that are just kind of sitting there ready to say, fuck you, Game Pass. But we'll see where it all ends up in a couple of years. But we are getting kind of up there in the recording time, so maybe it's time for us to kind of call it and wind this podcast down. So actually, hold on. Before we do that, Arch suggested something that I kind of want to try. I'm going to go read where we're big real quick. I'm going to open up a website and take a look at analytics for this podcast and see where we are trending this week. Currently, we are the 241th most popular video games and leisure podcast on in the lovely place known as Poland. We are the 71st most popular video games and leisure podcast in Honduras. And we are the 80th most popular video games and leisure podcast in the United Arab Emirates, which doesn't have a large podcast listening community from what I can tell. So shout outs to all those regions and keep those numbers up. But beyond that, I think it's time for us to say goodbye. So let's start off with our lovely guest, Ali. Who are you and where can people find you on the internet?
My name is Ali, not Ali, as it's ALY, not ALLIE. Literally, that's how you spell it. I am on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere all at once. So literally, just search me up, Google me. You can find me. I'm also an actress, so you'll probably find a lot of my past film stuff if you Google me as well. So if that's a curiosity thing, definitely do so.
And FG, who's probably 3 otters in a trench coat.
Not as unconfirmed, maybe
Allegedly.
like allegedly. There's also other people and there's combinations and things, but yeah, I'm FG squared. You can find everything actually in one place at fgsquared.tv.
And you can find me as a skeleton in a flesh suit, as BLIND IRL everywhere. And screw Twitter. Follow me on Mastodon at blindIRL at mas.to. And for this podcast, if you want to get more episodes of this podcast, you can go to halcyonfrequency.com or anywhere where organic podcasts are harvested from the podcast trees. And if you can't find it in a location that you were looking, please DM me and I will make it appear there, or do my best to make it appear there, or reappear there if it disappeared, which would be a problem. Which happened once, actually, because I forgot to click confirm on a fake email that was sent to me. If you want to get more episodes or if you want to talk about this podcast, you can join the Discord via the website, and there's rooms on the community Discord where you can discuss this podcast or tell me that my editing is bad. It's up to you. And aside from that, I just want to say real quick thanks to Peter Pohl and Paul Mile for the lovely intro and outro music and break music that you're hearing. And with that being said, new episodes go up every Sunday, so this is Halcyon Frequency. Don't touch that dial, and Halcyon Frequency signing off. I'm flustered today.